So today we're going to be continuing to play Doodle Empires. Now I do have to come out and say real quick that this game received an update which wiped out the save files for everybody, which means that unfortunately the previous mini-series that we had going no longer is going to exist because I physically do not have the map anymore. That's something that's completely out of my control, so I do apologize for that. That's alright though, because in the previous Doodle Empires video I asked you guys to get the video to 3,000 total likes and we blew right past that, reaching 4,000 likes. So let's try to set a new goal here. On this video, let's try to get to 4,000 total likes for the next episode of this new mini-series. Anyway, I'm going to be using new sliders for this series, so before we just use the default sliders, but I've changed these just a tiny little bit to make the videos a little bit more entertaining, at least in my opinion. And let's go ahead and jump straight back into this map of Europe. Now, like I said previously, all of our progress was deleted. Once again, not something that I could have controlled, but that's alright though, because we are going to be starting over, and the first nation we will be establishing will be up here in Brittany. We'll go ahead and put them along the northern French coast, and I think we'll also kind of drag them down here a little bit. As you can see, we also now have a marker over our cursor. That's new. But their capital city will be right here in St. Malo, and we're now automatically into the age of division. That could be troubling. But we'll go ahead and select Brittany here, and they are already going to get a split. So let's go ahead and establish the nation of Normandy now over here in the upper/northern region of the red team. We'll go ahead and give these new guys a capital city, which will be whatever that is. I'm going to try to pronounce it. Chibord on Cotentin? Yeah, I'm probably never going to try to pronounce a French city again. I've never taken any kind of French in my life. I've taken Spanish, and that's it. So French, yeah, I'm not familiar with that language too much, so sorry to my French viewers. Anyway, we get the red team again, and they're going to get yet another small split. So this is really not shaping out too well for the red team to start, but we did jump straight into the age of division. So let's go ahead and just make ourselves a West Brittany over here, just on the tip of France. And their capital city will be right down here in Quimper. We now get the blue nation over here, and they're going to get a large expand. So with these guys, we're going to keep them to the Normandy region. We're just going to wrap them around the English Channel, going right over here towards the tip of Britain, and then we're going to start to move them inland down this major river here, getting towards the Paris region. But now we select the red team again, and they're also going to get a large expand. So kind of similar to what the blue team just did. Instead, we're going down the southern coast of France, or more so the western coast of France. Southern if you're proportioning it to this region. But we'll wrap them down around here into this area, getting up against this river, and then we're going to push their civilization around this river as well. We now get the yellow country here, and they're going to get a small expand. So the story here is that more settlements along the western region of the red team simply just want to break away and join the yellow team. It's still really early on, so it's kind of hard to make a realistic story as to why the yellow team would get any land from the red team. At this point, you know, there's only 3 civilizations on this map, so the chances of there being any kind of war this early on at least is not too likely. But we're going to have to do what the game tells us to do, so we get the yellow team yet again, and they're going to be forming a union. So you know what, all that expansion I was just talking about, forget it. They are uniting with the red team, and the red team no longer exists. So we have ourselves a new Brittany here. We can go ahead and change their name from West Brittany over to just Brittany. We now get the blue nation. We'll slide to card, and they get a medium expand. So let's go ahead and push them further down this river here, all the way to its end. So they are now expanding deeper into French territory. We select them yet again, and now they're going to get another medium expand. So let's just push them inland a little bit, maybe make their borders a little bit more thick. We now get the yellow team, and they also are going to be getting a medium expand. So not a whole lot of new civilizations or breakaways just yet. We now get the blue team, and they're going to get a split. So I think realistically this split would probably come in the areas that are furthest away from its capital city. So we'll go ahead and give this river civilization its independence away from the blue team. Let's just call them France, and their capital city will be right about there, and we're going to actually have it as Paris. Now that might not be good placement, so I apologize to any of my French viewers if that's not actually where Paris is at. It might be actually right there and I just misplaced it, but whatever. We now get the blue country again, and they're going to get a medium expand. So I'm not going to have them invade back into the red team because we want to make sure we have as many countries on this map as possible. So instead we'll just once again start to fill in some of this central area, not invading into the yellow team, but taking some of this uncolonized land. Speaking of the yellow team, we get them, and they're going to get a split as well. We'll have them break away down here in this southern region of the yellow team. Maybe we'll just push them up to this river up here like that. I think that looks good. I don't really want to make a bunch of border gore, but it might have to come to that. Okay, or not, we're good. So the green team will break away from France. These guys' names will be Paz de la Lore. Once more, I'm very unfamiliar with French and the pronunciations, but their capital city will be right around here where Nantes is. We now get the red team over here, and they are going to get a small split. So we're going to go ahead and name this new civilization South France, and they will just be these two. Okay, or not. I was going to have them be two branches of this river here, but I ran out of pixels, so we'll see if these guys survive much longer. We now get the blue team, and they also are going to be getting a small split. Once again, we are in the age of division, which means that these countries are going to be breaking up a lot, but as soon as we get out of this age, we should start seeing some new countries sprout out across this map. So we now say hello to the orange civilization up here in the north of the blue team. We'll go ahead and bring them down, cutting off the border between the red and blue teams. We get the blue team yet again, and they are going to be building a castle. So I think realistically, the blue team would probably put a castle as close to the yellow team's border as possible. Right now, the power rankings, if I had to guess, yellow team number 1, blue team number 2, green team number 3. So you want to defend yourself from the yellow team. So they're going to be putting a castle down right there. And this fort will be called Fort Bressay. And if you didn't know, I also learned this recently, but forts basically make the defense of the country a lot better. So if I were to ever have the yellow team invade into the blue team, it would make invading this region a lot harder, and it would use a lot more of the brush. Anyway, we now get the red team, and they are going to be forming a union, and I think the most realistic way that we fix this issue down here is just uniting them with the red team, so they go away, and the red team is now back to 100% power. We get the green team now, and they will be founding a religion. This religion, of course, will be called Greenianity. We now get the orange country, and they are going to get a small expand. Let's go ahead and bring them further across the northern European coast, maybe bulking them up. Maybe they also steal some land from the red team down over here without them noticing. And I did just notice that they don't have a capital city, so let's make sure we get them one of those. That's going to be over here in Le Havre. And then for our final turn in the Age of Division, we get the blue team, and they will be getting a large expand. So I don't think, once again, that there would be too many wars early on, so let's just go ahead and expand their border in this unclaimed land in central France. So there we go, they gobble a lot of that up, but we are now finally out of the Age of Division, which means it is now time for us to possibly start establishing some new countries on other parts of this map / region. Currently, all of these nations derive from the red team, which no longer exists. It was unionized with the yellow team. So the chances of some of these guys diverging their origin is pretty likely. So we now come down here to the green team, and they will be building a castle. So I would assume they will want to protect their capital area. So we'll go ahead and put the fort right over here. We'll go ahead and give it a proper name. We now get the blue team again, and they will be adopting a religion. So let's go ahead and give them the religion of Greenianity. We now get the orange country up north here, and they too will be adopting a religion. So let's go ahead and give them Greenianity as well. We get the orange team again, and now they're getting a medium expand. So with that being said, let's go ahead and bring them on over into the Netherlands area, wrapping them up around this. And these guys so far have been kind of the coastal country of this series. In the last couple of episodes of the series, it was the Albanians who were doing the coastal stuff. I guess the orange team is going to be doing it in this series. We'll have to see though. There's no guarantee that these guys stick around past this video. They might even fall in this one. Who knows? We finally get another country, and it's now the yellow team, and they're going to be founding a religion. So we'll call this Yellowism. And we now have two predominant religions on the faith map. We have Greenianity and Yellowism. The red team is the only nation at this point who does not have a religion of their own. Speaking of the red team though, we do get a card for them, and they will finally be able to expand again. So let's go ahead and bring their border down south here and meet up with this major river here in France, and also connect up the land between these two river shootouts. There we go. The red team is now looking a little bit less frail. We get the green team again, and they will be getting a small split. So let's go ahead and give independence to their furthest reach, which is over here where these three rivers meet. And then we get the green team again on the next turn, and now they're going to be building another castle. So let's go ahead and build it over here next to the border of the purple team. Maybe they are a little bit worried that this insurgency, or whatever you want to call it, maybe it's a rebellion, is going to grow further, so they build another castle there and fortify their country even further. So if we go ahead and take a look at the fortress map, you can see that pretty much all of the land in these two countries has been fortified. At least in the blue team, the more important capital area has been fortified, but almost all of the green team, actually I think all of the green team, yeah, has been fortified. So it would be a lot harder to invade these guys now. And then we get the yellow team, and they're going to be forming a new nation. So we finally get a new nation, which will not have the same origin as these guys up here in France. So let's come down in here to like where Catalonia is, and let's form a nation here. So of course we're going to call them Catalonia, and then we'll draw them in on this northeastern coast of Spain, kind of going into the mountains. Maybe we'll wrap them up around into France like this. I'm actually getting a lot of brush for these guys, so we're going to be able to make them actually pretty large. But there we go. Catalonia has now officially been established. They are instantly one of the largest countries on this map, probably similar in size to the blue team. But what's the lore around this? Let's just say that a bunch of people up north in France simply just migrated down south and here they found the land to be usable and they established a new nation. Simple as that. Their capital city, of course, will be over here in Barcelona. We go to our next turn and we actually get to draw a card for them, and they're going to be getting a large expand. So these guys off the bat are going to be our largest nation. It only took 2 turns for them to rise to fame, but here we are. These guys will be cutting all the way across and now linking up with the Bay of Biscay. And then I guess we finally have to make them cross the river and go further into southern Catalonia, in which they do, now wrapping around this coastal area of Spain. And we now end up with something like this. So yeah, these guys are automatically huge. Our next turn we get the Orange country, and they will be getting a medium expand. So how about we have them cross the British Channel and enter into the British Isles, and setting up civilization across the southern riverbank of this river. Did I say that geographically correctly? I don't think so. I don't think that's how that works. This is not a river bank. Whatever, we'll just move them inland more. As you can see, Western Europe so far has been getting colonized pretty quickly, and I think this is to the effect of me changing the sliders a little bit. As you know, with the past 3 episodes of this miniseries, it took a very long time for Greece and Turkey and even the Balkans to be colonized. But off of episode 1 of this map, yeah, we are already huge. But we now get the green country over here, and they will be forming a union, and I think realistically they would probably unite with the purple team over here just to get their old land back. Of course, the purple team originated from the green team, so it just makes sense. But we now get the red team, and they will be also forming a union. So let's have the red team form a union with the... I want to say the orange team. It could be them or it could be the blue team, but I think the blue team has been around for so long, like the idea of, I guess, sovereignty has started to develop there, just on a very minuscule scale. Of course, sovereignty in ancient times didn't mean what it means in modern times, but I guess the way I'm trying to word this is that the blue team doesn't want to unite with the red team because they like their country as is, whereas the orange team might be a little bit more susceptible to doing so. So let's have them unite with the red team. And remember, uniting doesn't necessarily mean that they are annexed. It means that the 2 governments come together and form a new one. So the orange team and the red team will be working together now, just under the color of red. Anyway, the game really wants me to have the red team again, so we're going to go ahead and draw a card for them, and they're going to be getting a large expand. So I guess just in AdizzPro videos, if your country is the color of red, you are just destined for greatness. I promise you that I did not plan to have another strong red team. Maybe it was a thing in the previous few episodes with Macedonia, but this is not intentional. It just really wants to be big. Let's see, the red team is 3,300 pixels and the pink team is 2,800, so the red team at this point is larger. We get them again. I disagree. We get the green team now, and they will be getting a large expand. I'm not sure if this is so much as the sliders now at this point. I feel like the game, it did get updated, so maybe they tweaked like the probability of the cards being drawn. That is a very real chance. I read through the patch notes. I didn't see anything on that though, so maybe I'm just schizophrenic. I just definitely don't remember there being this much expansion at first in the previous few videos. Anyway, the green team will expand their land, and they're now looking something like this. Now their country no longer is 100% guaranteed by these castles. As you can see, only a few of the northern provinces are. Down here it is relatively unprotected, but there again is no countries that border them, so they probably don't have to worry for now. But let's go ahead and draw our next card. We get the pink team, and they're going to be getting a medium expand. So in all probability, the pink team is aware of the existence of the northern nations. After all, their existence does stem from people migrating down here. So let's go ahead and have the pink team move up this river here and meet up with the border of the green team, probably to establish some sort of trade, but also, you know, just easier transport. Going up the river is easier than walking. And let's go ahead and also thicken their claims up here in France, going over to this little area over here, and then let's also drag them further down the Spanish coast. And there we go, pink team looking very strong. We now finally get the blue team again, and they're going to be founding a religion of their own, and so we have the establishment of Bloodism in France. Here's a quick peek at our updated religion map. Still, we have the red team and the pink team being the only 2 nations without a religion, but that could very well be changing soon. We now get Brittany again, and they are going to be getting a small expand, so I guess their military will be going out. Or alternatively, instead of going to war with either of their neighbors who both have fortresses on their border, the yellow team will be colonizing Cornwall from the UK, and now there are 2 nations up here in the British Isles. We get the pink team yet again, and they're going to be building a castle this time. So let's go ahead here and establish ourselves a fortress kind of near the border of the green team, and this will of course be Fort Tortoise. So now their northern border is secured. They don't have to worry about the green team invading, or if they do invade, they don't have to worry about them taking too much land from them. We get the red team now, and they're going to be getting a medium expand. So the red team very quickly is becoming one of the strongest nations on this map, but we're going to start moving moving these guys down this central river in France, now going out and down towards the pink team. We'll make sure to fill in some of the land between these rivers, but mostly they're just going to be expanding inland, in which they do. We get the red team again. I disagree. We now get the yellow team, and they're going to be adopting a religion. I don't think they should change it, so we're just going to make them adopt their own religion. Pink team, do we do the pink team again? I don't think so. Red team again? Don't think so. Red team again? Yellow team again, we can do that. I guess we just went in a big circle, and it doesn't even matter because we're now forming a new nation. So now we're gonna come over here to Denmark, and we're gonna set up a civilization over here. Of course, they're gonna be called Denmark, and these guys are migrants from the red team. Maybe they didn't like the red team's rapid expansion, maybe the government's corrupt, or whatever you want it to be. The Danes now come over here and settle in Denmark. We'll go ahead and give them a capital over here in Esbjerg. Also, don't know a lick of Danish. Couldn't even tell you how to say hello. But we now finally get the blue team, and they will be doing a small expand. So the only place for them to really move at this point is across this river. The blue team at this point is weaker than the green team, definitely weaker than the red team. Arguably weaker than the yellow team, although they probably could invade into them. But at this point in time, we're just going to have them cross the river and gain land in central France. Pink team again, and they're going to be getting a small expand. So let's have them move further up into France, just colonizing this central inland, which has been unclaimed by any of the other powers thus far. We get the yellow team again, and they're going to be having a split. So I think realistically, we have to give independence to Cornwall here. So the people who came across the ocean and settled Cornwall were like, you know what, this is better than living in Brittany. And they just formed a new nation. I can finally pronounce the names of cities. This is called Plymouth. I really hope that's actually how you say it in the UK, because I know American English and British English, they do kind of diverge in pronunciation sometimes. So in America, at least we call it Plymouth, but in the UK, maybe you call it Plymouth. I really hope not. It's probably the same, and I just look really stupid right now. But we get the green team, and they're going to be getting a new leader. So they are now flatlanders, and they are now tolerant. Anyway, they will be getting a medium expand. So they're going to come across this river here and start to colonize and fill in this unclaimed land between them and the pink team. They might honestly get all of it. Let's see. No, they don't. So there's a little bit of unclaimed space over here, but I'm sure one of these countries will gobble it up eventually. We get the blue team now, and I'm going to try to start making an effort to remember like what the traits of these countries are. So these guys are zealous. I actually don't know what that means. I've seen the word plenty of times. I've actually never learned the meaning. So it means showing great energy or enthusiasm in pursuit of cause or objective. So that's just a cute word for nationalistic, I think. And they're also mountaineers, which sucks for them because they're not near any mountains. That's okay though. They're going to be building a castle, and that castle will be on the border of the red team, and this will be called Fort Chartres or Chartres. Probably not either of those, but I tried my best. That's all that matters, right guys? Anyway, we get the red team, and they will be getting themselves, oh no, they'll be getting themselves nothing. We're now in the Age of Division Part 2. So all of these large countries are about to come tumbling down, I think. First off, we start with the pink team, and no, we're starting a new nation. And I think I want to switch it up a little bit. So instead of having a new European nation, let's come down here to the northern coast of Africa, which does barely exist, and form a new nation in Algeria. So simply enough, I guess pink team explorers came across the Mediterranean, found land in northern Africa, and decided to set up their own settlement. And this thing is going to span pretty far. I mean, it comes all the way over here from the tip of Tunisia all the way down towards the border of Morocco, if not into Morocco. We'll go ahead and give them a capital city down here in Algiers, and then we select the yellow team, and they're going to be getting a split. So hello to East Brittany. You guys will be filling in the land down here, and we have the establishment of the brown team. Now, notably here, I just accidentally gave them their capital city. My bad. Well, not my bad. It was going to have the split either way, but simply enough, the yellow team just splits into two, which means that Quimper over here can become the new capital city of the yellow team. Sorry, I'm stumbling all over my words right now. There we go. The yellow team is relocating their capital to the historical capital of the ancient red team, which is, I guess at this point, kind of like the mother of all of the French nations. There's 3 non-French nations at this point, being Catalonia, Algeria, and then up here in Denmark. Anyway, we now come down to the pink team, and they're going to be getting a new leader. This guy is an isolationist. He's also a flatlander, which is unfortunate for him because there's not a lot of flat land in this area of Europe. So we'll select them again, and they're going to be splitting. Now, I don't want to kick the pink team out of their core area. They were originally, settled along this coast in the Mediterranean. So when I draw in the borders of this new country, I think we're going to have them kind of break away in this area. Now it's just a matter of figuring out what color I'm going to use. I think we're going to go with like a gold color. And then yeah, we're just going to break these guys away over here in the westernmost region of the pink team. We'll give them control of Fort Nope, I'm not gonna try. I think I called it Fort Tortoise earlier. We're gonna keep calling it that. So Fort Tortoise will now be controlled by the gold team. But there we go. We have these guys breaking away, and their capital city will be right over here in the town of Lezo. Now I do want to say that these are all real city names in real life, but now we select the pink team again, and okay, we're just gonna be forming a new nation. I was kind of worried that the pink team would be losing it all in a matter of 2 turns, but I think we're good. So now let's come over here to Italy and establish a new nation. I accidentally colored on the map. We gotta make it over here now. My bad, guys. All right, so we'll just wrap these new guys around the coast of Spain, and I think realistically we're gonna have to call these guys Galicia, and I actually can pronounce the name of Spanish cities for the most part, so we're gonna put their capital over here in A Coruña. We go ahead and randomly select a country. I don't think we should mess with them right off the bat. I guess we will. Okay, we probably shouldn't have done that. They're gonna form a union. Realistically, there's no unions to form, so we're just gonna make them unite with themselves. We now randomly select Denmark for the first time, and of course they're gonna be getting a split. So we're gonna be calling these guys Norgeland. So for these videos, what I do is I look up region maps of basically any country that a civilization is located in. So for example, in Greece, I would be naming all of the countries in the peninsula after Greek provinces or regions. I did the same thing with France for the most part, although it gets kind of complicated when you have these overlapping civilizations. But as for Denmark, it looks like their northernmost province is called Norgeland, which, does that just mean Northland? Denmark people, Danish people, I'm sorry. Danish viewers, answer in the comments. Does Norgeland, or anyone that speaks Danish actually, or anyone that knows, because as someone who just speaks only English and a little bit of Spanish, that's what I think that means. That's my best guess. And actually, looking at this map, I might actually have it up on the screen right now, but is the middle one called Midland, and then the southern one is called Southland? Denmark, are we serious? Is that really what it's called? You know what, I'm not gonna judge. We have North and South Dakota, and then Virginia, West Virginia, and then North and South Carolina. We're not original either, but we'll have these guys split away, and they will indeed be the north of Denmark, or the Northland, as I believe they call it. Let's be a little bit fun here. They actually have a town all the way up here at the top. We're going to call their capital city after it. It's going to be called Skagen. We now get the red team, and they too will be splitting. I kid you not, the British call this Southeast. Really? Are we really that unoriginal in Europe too? I thought it was just an American thing, but I guess we get it from you guys. Like, you always clown on us for being unoriginal with our names, but what kind of name is Southeast? At least all 50 of our states actually have names that aren't like Northwest Territory, like in Canada, for example. I know there's a series of states that have like very similar names, once again, North and South Dakota, but come on, Southeast? You could have at least called it something. All right, I guess we're gonna have England form here then. So they will be taking over the area in England that the red team colonized. Have a lot more brush to give them, but I'm not gonna be giving to them because of that stupid name they have. We're allowed to make fun of British people on the internet, so I'm gonna be taking advantage of that. But we can also go ahead and put their capital city where it is in real life, which is in here in London. This is what our map is looking like so far. We're gonna randomly select the gold team down here, and they're gonna be founding a religion. And we're gonna call it Gold Slam, or Gold Slam. It's pronounced Gold Slam though. So there we go, they get themselves a new religion. We now select the green team, and we're gonna be forming yet another new nation. So now we can come down over here to Italy and finally form the civilization I was trying to do earlier. And this one will be called Liguria. Once again, correct me if I pronounce your region wrong, but this region kind of wraps around this part of Italy. We're gonna actually have them extend into France. Now I know it's not called that in France, but we're gonna do it anyway. And then we're also gonna give these guys land in Corsica. So they're at this point in kind of this northern Mediterranean Sea trade empire. Well, empire, I use that word very loosely, but at a time like this, when countries are this small, you know, you refer to Venice sometimes as the Venetian Empire, even though they didn't really extend much outside of the Adriatic land. So that's kind of like the same vibe I'm getting here with this new country. And you know what, maybe just to kind of double down on that, let's go ahead and put their capital in northern Corsica, and this will be called Monticello. That's how I was taught in school to pronounce this. Is it actually pronounced that way in French or maybe Italian? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Once again, feedback. Love your feedback. Before our final turn of this video, we are going to be selecting the pink team yet again, and they're simply just going to be building a castle. Nothing wrong with that, I don't think. Maybe a little bit anticlimactic, but we're going to be putting this fort just to the north west of their city. And this fort will be called Fort Terrassa. Gotta really roll your R with those double R's. So Terrassa, something along those lines. But now we have the pink team fortifying their capital city area. Of course, earlier we had the gold team break away from them, and then they also took their fortress with them. And then up north here, there's a series of fortresses just scattered around Europe, which are there for defensive purposes. But of course, in today's video, we really didn't see too many wars happening. It was more so just these civilizations branching out and starting life, and I guess human civilization over here in Western Europe. Now, I was going to end the video, but I really want to get rid of this little dot down here for the green team so the thumbnail doesn't look horrid. So we're just gonna draw cards until we get something good for the green team here. I just keep getting splits. Can I please get a small expand? Okay, thank you. So we are able to just, whoa, like I was saying, we are able to just clean up this southern border real quick so that when you guys look at the thumbnail, you're not like, what the heck? We might also just move them around this border here, maybe not waste the turn entirely. So there we have it. That will do it for today's episode. Usually I only do 50 turns per episode, but in today's video, we did 74 turns, and it's the exact same length as the other recordings I've done for this mini-series. So that's interesting. I guess the pacing just picked up. So good job me. This was definitely our most eventful Doodle Empires video thus far, and as you can see, we're already spreading pretty widely around Europe here, making it so that this mini-series is definitely possible for completion. All we have to do is fill in all of this, which, you know, that might take a couple episodes, maybe like 24 episodes. We'll see though. Once again, if you guys want to see more of Doodle Empires, make sure to get this video to 4,000 total likes. That is the most hefty like goal I think I've ever asked for. I might have asked for 5K at one point. I don't really do like goals on videos, but for like the mini series like this, I think it's kind of important to like see your guys' feedback, because obviously if a video doesn't reach a like goal that it's been able to hit before, that means you guys are losing interest and I should probably move on to different content. So that is really the only reason I'm implementing a like goal here. 4,000 likes and I'll do a part 2. I might do it anyway just because I kind of really like this series. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Once again, trying to get to 200,000 subscribers, and I will see you all hopefully in the next Doodle Empires video. And of course, thank you to all our super fans. This includes Chillturn Mapping, Omega the YouTuber, Illy Goated, Nevada Garbage Trucks, Vista Mapper, Xander Pro Productions, Geo1010 Gamer, Knighthood7353, and Golden Ball Mapping, 101 Rotanami T, King Cheese, Australian Geo Guy, Zerminator, Icy Static FN, CTG on YT, Eagsco, Euroball, Augusto, A Norwegian, RS, Gail Martinez, Zaylance, What in the World, Freezioi, Laser Taze, Pablo Sigma Cat, Deathstrider X, Hammertoad45, and DW Cool Dude. Once again, thank you guys.